Alright, it's the White Tiger Knight, and this is the Rainier Arms Nickel Boron Match Grade 308 Bolt Carrier Group. I think it's a great option for the LR 308 style rifles. Let's take a look. It's got oversized locking lugs for match grade quality, a magnetic particle inspected bolt. It's all mil spec. The mouth on the gas key is much cleaner than the 7.62 Industries bolt, and I'm really happy with that. There's some machining marks on the top of the bolt carrier there, and it's got a Colt properly mil-spec, properly staked carrier key. The sides of the carrier have very slight tool marks, but I think it's pretty slick and overall cleaner than the 7.62 Industries. Again, properly staked carrier key and not a lot of dings on it as the other one had. I think it's there's a little bit of machining marks, but I think it's overall pretty good quality. Now, one ding I have to give on this is on the bolt face, one of the locking lugs near the extractor had a burr on it, or some leftover from I think the nickel boron coating. Now I removed that and kind of cleaned it up a bit, but it's just kind of a quality control problem, I think, and it's not a good spot to have some kind of roughness on your bolt face or your locking lugs or anything. So that's kind of a ding. I mean, I fixed it and it came off easily. I might have to, polish it up a little bit, but that's just a major ding on that, I think, and just something that in the QC process should have been looked at. So let's take this thing down and check out the insides here. So you can use something to remove this firing pin, retaining pin. Just go ahead and push it out. It's pretty simple. You can use the tip of a bullet or just a little tool or anything. Just go ahead and knock that guy out, and that will free up the firing pin. So once you have this little retaining pin out, just go ahead and place that down here, and just turn the bolt over, and the firing pin will slide right out. Once you have the firing pin out, just go ahead and place that down, and it's going to allow the little cam pin here to be removed. You have to push the bolt back a little bit and get the cam pin in the proper location. And then once you turn it, it'll just fall right out. So once you have that out, it's pretty simple from there. You can just go ahead, place it down here, and pull the bolt out. So as you can see, that's nickel boron coated as well, which is a pretty good thing. And just go ahead and just pull the bolt straight out. You got the gas rings kind of might be a little tight, but that's it. And now you got the bolt pretty much out. Now if you want to go a little further, you can remove the extractor, and I'll show you how to do that here in 1 second. You can either use the firing pin or a smaller tool or something that can fit inside here. And you can remove the extractor, and that right there is where you can remove the ejector. So that's the cam pin. You got the firing pin, retaining pin. You got the firing pin, all nickel boron coated, which is a pretty good thing. And these things are pretty slick. There's not a lot of tool marks on them. You got the bolt, again, MPI bolt with pretty slick and pretty tight gas rings on there. The 7.62 Industries bolt had some pretty loose gas rings, and I wasn't really happy with that. As you can see, you can kind of see a little bit of the roughness on the extractor there, which is kind of unfortunate on this one as well. And there's a little bit of machine marks on this one, but the mouth on the gas key I think is much better. And just looking inside, right here inside the bolt carrier, you can see it's a little gummed up with some grease, but that's alright. It's full auto rated. That means it's a little longer here in the back. And as you can see here, the nickel boron coating on the internals here is not super even, so that's kind of unfortunate. It was similar on the 7.62 as well, but I just think they're having trouble getting the nickel boron coating inside of the actual carrier. As you can see here, it's not super it's not super even everywhere. And that's just kind of unfortunate. You can see inside of the gas key and inside of the carrier here that especially inside of the gas key there, it's just not super even on the nickel boron coating. I think that's just a problem they're having getting it inside of those tight spaces. But that's just kind of unfortunate. It's again similar with both of the nickel boron bolts that I've seen so far, but it's just kind of an unfortunate thing. I think it still functions all right. Again, the bolt is still nickel boron coated, but that's just kind of an unfortunate part because internally that's pretty important. So again, as you can see on the bolt here, it's all looking pretty smooth. The gas key or the gas rings are solid, and the part where the firing pin goes in here, the little mouth is pretty slicked up. But as you can see, again, the nickel boron coating on the internal here, this tight internal spaces, is not super even, so that's kind of unfortunate. But again, that was standard between both of the bolts here that I've dealt with. As you can see, this is the pin right here that you would go ahead and drive through if you want to remove your ejector. This is a 1.4 millimeter size little punch here, and you go ahead and push the ejector down and drive that pin out. Now, this was really hard getting out. It wouldn't really come out of there. The Rainier arms people, I spoke with them and they said they don't typically even take them out, but that's just kind of unfortunate. I think I could drive it out with a lot of force. So let's check out here. I'm just going to remove the extractor, because you might want to actually do this. Typically, you just go ahead and get a little pin there and push it through. You can use the firing pin or another tool and drive that out. And you press down on the extractor while you push through the pin. And once you got the pin out, keep some tension here on the extractor and let it out a little easier because it's under spring tension. And then once you see here, it has a dual capture recoil spring, or a dual capture extractor spring, which is pretty good. That's a good plus, I think. Both of the bolts that I've seen here and reviewed actually have that, so that's a good feature, I think. Instead of having to use a Defender D-ring or something, or a different spring, I think that's pretty strong. So you should get good extraction off of this spring. I think that's great. And again, all of this is nickel boron coated. It's pretty smooth and fits right in there. So that's basically how you break it all the way down. Here's all the parts, completely stripped there. The only thing left is the ejector, and again, the Rainier arms people, even when they headspace, claim that they don't even remove the ejector, which is problematic in my opinion. I definitely want to try and get that out of there. I might speak with them further on that, but it's pretty easy to strip down. As you can see here, go ahead and clean it, whatever you need to do. All the parts are nickel boron coated, and it's really interesting and I think really slick. It adds to the hardness and the lubricity. Now, you can go ahead and reinstall your extractor if you want to do. If you want to try and remove the ejector, you would typically reinstall the extractor, and you can use a empty case or a headspace gauge or something to lock in and push down the ejector while you drive the pin out before the ejector. And I'll show in a second pretty much how that would go about. When you're reinserting the extractor, just go ahead and press down on it and slide that pin in. If you get it in the correct orientation, the pin should slide fairly easily, and you want to get it in there even on both sides. It's a little tough making sure that you get it perfectly even, but I think that's pretty important when it's riding inside the carrier. So it's pretty simple stuff. If you need to take that out, clean it, but it's not necessarily something you got to do, every day. But every couple thousand or 1,000 rounds, you might want to do that. It's pretty simple stuff. So we'll go through a reassembly process here really quickly. As you can see, go ahead and get your extractor back on there. Now again, you don't always have to take that off, but once you get it in there, you go ahead and slide the bolt in. Note the orientation of the extractor there, so you can get the cam pin all properly set up. And you go ahead and slide the cam pin in there, right over top, right into the bolt, and it should lock in pretty easily. Then you can go ahead and drop the firing pin down in the channel there. Want to kind of cover with your hand or something, and just get it right down in there. Drop it through, pretty smooth, pretty simple stuff. And then reinsert the firing pin, retaining pin, and you're pretty much ready to go. Get it all the way in there, and you can your bolt's completely assembled. You push the bolt all the way forward to make sure that it doesn't fall, on its own weight, and that shows that your gas rings are still strong and good. It's pretty slick. So as you can see here, the nickel boron coated match grade bolt carrier from Rainier Arms. I think it's definitely a small step up, I would say, from the 762 Industries. I just think overall it's better quality. And I'll have some future updates on this, but if you want to go ahead and remove the ejector, if can use, as I'm using here, the headspace gauge. Lock it on your extractor and hold it down. And while you're pushing that ejector in, you can drive that pin out there. It's easier said than done. And this one, I think, through the nickel boron coating, might be kind of stuck or something in there. But I'm sure I can drive it out with enough force. I just don't want to harm it. So I'll update you on that in the future. Peace out.